The year 2017 marks the 20th anniversary of the passage into glory of the great Fela Anikulapo Kuti. Fela Anikulapo Kuti has been described as a social critic, a political activist and champion of the underprivileged, a philosopher of his own ideology, the creator of Afrobeat, and a prophet. On the 2nd of August 1997, at the age of 58 in Lagos, Nigeria, Fela Olusegun Oludotun Ransom Kuti, also known as Fela Anikulapo Kuti, passed on. It was recorded that his funeral procession was attended by about 1 million people, which began at the Tafawa Balewa Square and ended at Kuti's home, Kalakuta, in Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria, where he was laid to rest in the front yard. The life and times of Fela is remembered and celebrated annually by his children and fans with the Felaboration Week, which spans through mid-October, ensuring that Fela's posthumous birthday, which falls on the 15th of October, is part of the celebration. The Fela Debates, which is an integral part of the series of activities lined up for Felaboration, held on Monday, the 9th of October 2017, at the Neka Hall, Ikeja, Lagos. Family and believers of Fela's ideology attended the event. The debate was tagged 40 years after Festac, 20 years after Fela, Whither the Pan-African Dream. The keynote speaker at the event was Professor Patrick Lodge Otieno Lumumba. He is the Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Kenya School of Law and an Associate Professor of Public Law, as well as Founding Dean, Kabarak University School of Law. The panelists were Mr. Femi Falana, SAN, Nigerian lawyer and human rights activist; Mr. Abraham Ogbodo, a former sub-editor with the African Guardian magazine and editor of The Guardian; Mrs. Kadaira Ahmed, media entrepreneur and seasoned journalist who worked at the BBC in London. She has over 25 years' experience spanning print, radio, television, and online media. The event moderator, Mr. Femi Adebumi, kicked off with the introduction of the Felaboration Festival. Felaboration is an annual festival of music and arts, commemorating the life and times of Nigeria's foremost musical icon, the late great Fela Anikulapo Kuti. It was an idea conceived in 1998 by his eldest child, Yeni Kuti. The festival has grown to one that attracts thousands of visitors from all over the world. The keynote speaker, Professor Patrick Lodge Otieno Lumumba, gave an in-depth analysis of the Pan-African dream. He said the lecture is aimed at celebrating Pan-Africanism in the context of the ideologies of Fela Anikulapo Kuti. He said Africans must begin to ask fundamental questions and find simple and practical solutions to the decadence in the country, which should not be carried out through violence.
In 1961, barely 9 months after regaining her independence from the Belgians, Congo's Patrice Emery Lumumba had been assassinated. A little earlier in 1960, Togo's Sylvanus Olympio had been eliminated. After that, it came here in Nigeria. Nnamdi Azikiwe was removed from power, and you remember very well, Tafawa Balewa and the Sultana of Sokoto were assassinated in the process. And there is a sense, whether you like it or not, in which Nigeria has never been the same again. Yes, sir. There is a sense in which it has never been the same again. And it did not stop there. In Ghana itself, the Osagiefo was removed. And in many other countries, Modibo Keita was removed in Mali. We know what happened in Togo. We know what happened in Benin. We know what happened in Equatorial Guinea, in Uganda, in Chad, in the Central African Republic, in many other African countries. The neo-colonial project was alive and well, and the leaders who remained were already pandering and being choreographed, if you may, by the erstwhile colonial masters. So that even as I speak today, Africa remained the only continent in the world that is referred to in these terms, Francophone Africa. In Cameroon today, as I speak, the country is being divided into Francophone and Anglophone. And when you ask them how many people speak French, not even a tenth of the population. Then we are divided into Anglophone. Even Nigeria is divided into Anglophone, not Yoruba phone, not Igbo phone, not Hausa Fulani phone. And we who have had the advantage of education are comfortable in telling ourselves this is an Anglophone country. And when you go to Mozambique, you go to Angola, you go to Guinea-Bissau, you go to Cape Verde, they define themselves as Lusophone. This is the tragedy of Africa. And Fela Kuti was right when he said that when they want to enslave you forever, they make sure that you do not know who your forefathers are. And I want to submit to us that when we are gathered here to remember a man such as Fela Kuti in the context of Africa, we must ask ourselves, how relevant are they?
Speaking on the issue of corruption, Professor Patrick Lloyd Otieno described corruption as a cancer in the body, which must be treated to avoid further spread. He therefore urged the youth to uplift the Pan-African dream, decolonize our mentality, as only then will Nigeria be great again. He also urged Nigerians to support the Muhammadu Buhari-led administration,
that we can solve our problems of corruption about which Fela spoke. You know, corruption. This is Africa's bane. This is the thing that undermines Africa. It is roughly estimated that through the activities of our corrupt individuals who are in positions of leadership, we lose more money than we gain from the so-called aid. Today in Nigeria, as in many other countries, if you are to have an assembly of all the leaders you have in the 36 odd states of Nigeria, and all the leaders that you have in your nation, and you read the story of Ali Baba and the 40 thieves, you will discover that there are no longer 40 thieves. There is Ali Baba and thousands of thieves. When your current president campaigned on the platform of anti-corruption, you all celebrated and elected him. When he begins to engage in the fight against corruption, you say, oh, let corruption come back. What do you want your president to do? The president is not a latter-day Roman gladiator who is going to fight an animal called corruption in the arena. It is all you Nigerians in your little household that must fight corruption. You Nigerians who is in charge of a small establishment in Enugu, stop being corrupt.
Mr. Femi Falana, who was Fela's lawyer for many years, further gave clarifications to points raised by the keynote speaker. He highlighted corrupt practices carried out by people who once ruled Nigeria, saying that Fela was a man who lived for the people, a trait that is dead gone in Nigerian politicians of today.
I have one or two problems. Yes, Africans are corrupt, but I beg you, don't be tempted to jump to the conclusion of the West that stigmatizes us as the most corrupt people on earth. It's not true. America, Britain are the worst corrupt nations on earth. Prof, the Transparency International try to rank great corrupt countries. They say Nigeria is corrupt, Ghana is corrupt, Cameroon is corrupt. But Switzerland, that warehouses all corrupt money in the world, is never in that reckoning. Secondly, sir, and I think that was the point Nkrumah was making, neocolonialism, the last stage of imperialism. Corruption, we must know, sir, is a manifestation of corruption. Because, like Fela said, Fela once asked me, I feel you are a professor of law. Fela said, Femi, with all this your funny law, where did you get the idea of fraud from? Money laundering. If the Western people were not stealing, there would be no word like fraud. No word like stealing. But Fela then warned us, don't accept their language and their ideology. When you say money laundering, Fela said, what is money laundering? But if you say a man is a thief, in the school, his children will be ashamed when you say your father is a thief. But when you say the man is engaged in money laundering, it means nothing. Please. And that was when Fela was reminding us that they get the ruling class. Fela said members of the ruling class have ways of deceiving us. Embezzlement, the fraudulent. Make I remember another word, just to deceive people. But if we are going to organize Africa, sir, we need to draw a line of dichotomy between the countries that are getting it right and those that are exposing Africa to shame.
Mr. Abraham Ogbodo, in his discourse, awakened the consciousness of Nigerians by educating the audience on the need to stop seeing Africans as inferior to the Westerners. He therefore charged all to begin to embrace the Pan-African dream.
The culture is a very fundamental thing. Sometimes we believe that we can operate outside culture. To operate outside culture is to operate outside your essence, to operate outside your spirit. And it's not possible. What defines a man is not even the intellect, it's the spirit. And your spirit flows from your culture, from all the things, your nuances. But here, what in our ways, we just feel that, okay, it will be better if the model is patterned after America or after UK. It cannot work. You look at the word Occidental, Oriental. The basis of the advancement, anything you want to discuss, is rooted in their culture, is rooted in their origin. It cannot be otherwise. It is the reason when you see a Chinese, it will be unmistaken. You will know that this man is a Chinese. In his dressing, in his ways, in everything, in his food. You go to Japan, of course, when you talk of technology, that is the headquarters. But you go to that place, you see some local festivals. This Shumbo wrestling and all of that, people will be naked and they will be doing wrestling. But we do it here, of course, we equate African ways with primitivity. And I don't know where is that coming from.
The audience were also given time to ask questions as the keynote speaker and panelists provided answers to their questions. The event also featured the unveiling of the Felaboration artwork competition, which was won by Jas Hammond from Ghana. Afterwards was the vote of thanks by Mrs. Nike Nedum. She appreciated all who honored the memories of her father, adding that Fela will continue to live long in the hearts of many.
Thank you to our keynote speaker today, Professor Lumumba, for his most stimulating speech. He assisted in focusing all our minds on the various issues to do with the topic today, which I'll just summarize as Wither the Pan-African Dream. He had alerted us to the interconnectivity of these issues to the reality of our lives and the lives of all Africans. So, Professor Lumumba, thank you very much.
From Biscan Communications, we say, may the memories of late Fela Anikulapo Kuti live on.
Educative, informative. I think it was a brilliant lecture today. I think one of the best we have had.
It's fantastic, extremely intellectual. It was a collection of giants that really know a lot about Fela.
Very impressed. It was very exciting, very interesting. Professor Lumumba spoke excellently. Also, my other two friends on the stage, Senior Advocate Falona, they were excellent. We should have more of this kind of discussions and meetings in Lagos and everywhere in Nigeria.